In today's day and age, it feels like weight loss is becoming increasingly harder and harder to accomplish. And even though you may have the ultimate control and power to say no to the dessert, say no to the french fries, or say no to anything that you know might not be ideal for you based on your current goals, that doesn't make it any easier, and that doesn't mean that there are going to be setbacks and challenges along the way. One of the most common things that I've been noticing that people are experiencing when they try to lose weight and try to lose body fat, especially for the first time, is that feeling of hunger and that overwhelming sensation of, I'm really hungry, I don't know if I can sustain this, I don't know what to do and how to navigate and manage this kind of hunger sensation. So right off the bat, just because you're feeling hungry doesn't mean you have to abandon ship and give up altogether. A lot of times there's some simple strategies that we can do to help mitigate and reduce this intense hunger feeling so that it's more sustainable and more manageable for you, so you can stay on track and reach that end goal that you are striving for. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through about 3 strategies that are going to be worth hearing so that you know how to reduce those hunger sensations and feel a little bit more comfortable as you embark on a new weight loss or fat loss journey. If your goal does happen to revolve around fat loss and or weight loss, the first thing that comes to mind is, how do you create some kind of calorie deficit? How do you burn more energy than you're taking in? Basically, this comes down to calories in versus calories out. And through my experience, most of the people, when they try to do this for the first time, will just slash their calories for as low as they can go. A more specific example, if someone, let's say, is eating about 2,000 calories and they do want to embark on some kind of fat loss journey, let's say they have a wedding coming up, they have a family vacation, they have something that they want to not just look their best, but also feel their best as well. One thing that they might do, and I've heard this plenty of times before, is they'll just arbitrarily and randomly select a number of 1,200 calories each day. Where that number came from, not exactly sure, probably from some older approach to eating and weight loss and weight management. But one thing to keep in mind is, if we drastically cut those calories to such a low amount, then it's going to be such a shock to our body that we're really not going to be used to, and it's going to make those hunger cues and hunger signals a lot stronger and a lot more powerful. The first approach we could take to try to reduce the amount of hunger and reduce the overpowering feeling that we might be getting as we embark on some type of new fat loss or weight loss journey, as we enter a new calorie deficit for ourselves, is to take a more modest approach. Rather than cutting calories by 1,000, 500, 600 right off the start, consider easing into it a little bit more. So for example, if we decide that 2,000 calories is the amount of food that you are eating right now, rather than jumping all the way down to 1,500 or 1,400, possibly think about going down to 1,800 or 1,700 at the start. And this might seem like a lot, but in reality, this might just come from a couple small tweaks that we can make to your current eating schedule. So here's some examples of what that might look like. If you find yourself having sodas, regular soda, throughout the week, if you take a switch to diet, that can cut your calories down by upwards of 300 based on how many sodas you are having throughout the day. If you are someone who maybe is having some eggs and a bagel in the morning, think about switching from eggs and a bagel to eggs and some oatmeal. This way you have a little bit less calories, but you still have a little bit more food in the morning to prepare you for the day. And the last thing that we can do is see where we can start taking some things away from our main meal. So another example would be dressings. If we're having salad dressings or condiments, instead of getting them put on by someone who's serving it to you, ask to get it on the side. This way you can have more control over those sneaky calories, and you might be surprised as to how much that can impact the amount of calories you're having throughout the day, but also how much those simple swaps can go ahead and put you in a calorie deficit. After a week or so of just doing that, you might find that progress is happening and you're starting to see the scale go down a little bit more. You might be feeling that your clothes are fitting a little differently, or you're noticing some different things in the mirror. which is great. That means you're moving in the right direction. However, sometimes we might not see progress right away. And again, the first thing to remember is don't panic, possibly give it a little bit more time. But also, if you have been giving it, let's say, 3 to 4 weeks and still haven't seen much progress, maybe we just have to start reducing some of the calories somewhere else, or we have to maybe increase your activity level to go ahead and put us in a better position to be in that calorie deficit, which is ultimately going to facilitate that weight loss and fat loss. If our goal is to reduce the amount of hunger that we're having in between our meals, what we're gonna wanna focus on is prioritizing protein and fiber. What these two things are going to do is they're going to increase our satiety signals, which is going to tell our bodies that we've had enough nutrients, we're feeling full, we're feeling satisfied, but we're not overly stuffed. And this is gonna be helpful because it's going to delay that onset of hunger, and it's gonna give you that satisfaction of I've had enough to eat, and it can also help you feel like you've had enough to eat while staying within your calorie deficit that you need to support your weight loss and fat loss goals. So some examples of high quality protein and fiber sources will be lean cuts of meat, chicken, fish, tofu or tempeh if you do follow a more plant-based approach. And for fiber, we're looking at fruits and vegetables and just kind of smarter whole food type of carbohydrates like your potatoes, brown rice, quinoa, things that are going to be as minimally processed as possible. So overall, if our goal is to improve our consistency, feel more comfortable as we embark on this fat loss and weight loss phase, we want to make sure we're building those plates around protein and fiber so we can feel full longer in between meals and feel more satisfied and stay on track with our current plan. So the third and final piece that I want to touch on is going to be eating slower. And I know in today's day and age, this might be the most difficult one because everybody's go, go, go. Myself included, everyone has a busy schedule, everybody's busy. However, when you do have the opportunity, when you do have that chance to sit down, whether it's at lunch, whether it's breakfast, whether it's at home, at dinner with the family, slowing down the pace at which you eat is gonna help us better tie into those feelings of fullness and feelings of satisfaction so that you don't feel like you have to eat immediately after dinner or immediately after lunch. Some strategies that might help you do this are going to make sure that you put the fork or spoon down in between bites, chew and swallow your food completely before you go ahead and take another bite. Have more conversations and limit screen time when you are having these meals. If you're at work, see if you can have lunch with a coworker. If you're at home, make sure you're talking about your day. Make sure you're doing your best to sit away from the TV screen. Even though it's difficult and it's very tempting, I do fall into that every once in a while. But these are some things that might help you feel satisfied after dinner or after a meal in a way that doesn't have to require you to change a whole lot of other things about your day-to-day routine. So to summarize it all up, if you're feeling that you're not sure if you can sustain that sensation of hunger as you start some type of new weight loss or fat loss journey with the current calorie deficit that you're setting up for yourself, one, make sure you're not jumping too low in your calories too fast. You don't have to slash it in half. Start by reducing it by maybe 200 to 300 to start. And this can be completed by making some simple swaps throughout your eating routine and making minor adjustments that can be a big bang for your buck to establish that calorie deficit. Two, building your plate around protein and fiber so that you have an increased feeling of satiation and fullness and satisfaction to delay that feeling of hunger and reduce the volume of hunger that you might be feeling in between those meals. And lastly, and do your best to eat slower when you can. Do your best to put the fork down and chew completely before you go ahead and take that next bite. And this is only going to strengthen those satisfaction signals and telling yourself, hey, I'm full, I've had enough to eat, and I don't need to keep on eating. And this will most likely limit your chances of feeling the need to go immediately back up for seconds or have something 30 minutes after dinner. If you want more help and more guidance and to see more about how I can help you from a one-to-one standpoint, go ahead and check out some of the links below. There's some free resources there for you as well. And if you're enjoying this more longer form content, allows us to go a little bit more in depth with these types of conversations and topics. Go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, and I'll be doing more of these as the weeks go on.